my driveway.
Okay, on your driveway.
Yep.
All right, call me when you finish.
Okie dokie.
You ready? Okay.
How you doing?
Here you go.
It's cat dogs. How's my timing? I hate being late. We get do this Samsung. All right, guys, enjoy the ride from Blairsville, Georgia. We are going to somewhere in Stone Mountain. $7.25. I guess we'll call you know who y'all. It doesn't never keep. Y'all need to quit calling me.
Thank you for calling. Check out empty phone. Please hold while I try to connect you. Hey, baby.
I'm finally leaving.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a long one.
Yeah, because I had to
Hour
wait
and a
for the warranty company to approve or exchange. They decided to exchange. So now I'm coming out. I'm coming out the mountains. Here I come.
Here you go.
Going on the Stone Mountain. I should be there by 12. 2 hour ride. People find the weirdest place to live, I tell you.
Yeah.
They be hiding from us, don't they?
Insanity right there. People keep insanity away from people. I didn't realize there was people like that who really cannot be around other
Look
people.
at the view. I came from out of there. Oh my God.
Really?
I'm recording this too.
Are you recording now?
Oh my God, the mountains is high. I'm going straight into them.
Okay. All right. I'll call you right back.
We going into the mountains. And I might lose signal. So it makes no sense to even try to pick up anything. Yep, I'm going straight into the mountain, buddy. For the next 5 miles. This is State Road 19 for the next 5 miles. Up we go.
men don't know this, but ED medication, it has 2 essential ingredients, and if you're taking...
It's time for Lefties Are Losing It, and get ready to lose some functioning brain cells, because we're going to bring you some diabolically dumb takes from the dim-witted left, starting with Don Lemon. You remember him? He was sacked by CNN after 17 years at the network. That followed accusations of misogyny and misbehavior. And then there were his terrible ratings. Then he was sacked by Elon Musk after a disastrous interview, but he's still out there spewing his terrible takes, often race-based takes. Here he claims you cannot be black and be MAGA. Just listen to this and marvel at how a man this divorced from reality was able to be a network anchor for so long.
It's the same thing that when I see not all black Republicans, but I see a black MAGA person who is carrying Donald Trump's water and they know that he's lying, it is the shortest line to the front. Because if you're black and you're whatever, you're just in line with a bunch of other Democrats that are doing the same thing that you're doing. But if you become a black MAGA person, it's like, whoa, let's book this person, let's put him on television.
So you don't think you can be a sincere black MAGA person?
I just said, I don't think that. I just said I think there can be sincere Republicans,
but you can't be a sincere black Republican.
I don't think that you can be a rational MAGA, be black and be a rational MAGA person. I think you can be black and be a Republican.
I think they would find that very insulting.
Well, I mean, the truth is often insulting.
The truth is often insulting, and the truth is Don Lemon is a race-baiting simpleton who managed to foul his way up at CNN until even they had enough of his nonsense. As well as being a certifiable clown, he's also hugely ineffective. Here he is on CNN explaining how he campaigned for Kamala Harris by going around telling black men in battleground states that they were essentially dumb if they supported Trump.
I went from battleground state to battleground state. And when they invited me to the convention, I didn't just want to fly there. I said, I'm gonna go and talk to voters in battleground states. And I did. It was not curated. I went up to people just doing man on the street. I said, who are you going to vote for? Black men. And time after time after time, they said, I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Why?
Now, there are reasons why. They said, because most of the time they said, well, for economic reasons, right? Or because he gave me a stimulus check. And I had to correct them over and over.
Can't believe that didn't work out. But old mate Don is not alone in being hopelessly out of touch, hopelessly clueless about real people and what motivates them. Let's hear now from 2 awfuls, affluent white female lefties, former NBC and CBS host Katie Couric and an alleged historian, Heather Cox Richardson. Here she claims that Donald Trump is suffering cognitive decline. Not Joe Biden, but Donald Trump.
Katie, the man is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He really is. And that to me is, everybody's
the
like,
the ego knows no bounds.
No, the ego has never known any bounds, but the ego used to be anchored at least in a brain that could finish a sentence. And it's not there anymore. I promise you, I watch this man a lot, and I'm not a doctor. I'm telling you, if he were in my family, we would be looking at care.
Remember when Katie Couric had some credibility? Me neither. The way these people lie is just shameless, gross. Let's check in on how President Trump is doing. One thing is for sure, he is the funniest president we've ever had.
He didn't get an Emmy for his TV program 3 years in a row, and he started tweeting that the Emmys were rigged.
Should have gotten it.
This
Vice President Biden, you are holding much smaller events with
nobody will show up.
People with
what's true? Nobody shows up to his rally.
He said back in 2006, gee, I hope it does collapse because then I can go in and buy some and make some money. Well, it did collapse.
That's called business, by the way.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail. It's amazing. I mentioned food stamps and that guy who's seriously overweight went crazy. By the way, I don't like this mic. Whoever the hell brought this mic system, don't the son of a to put it in, I'll tell you. These people. No, this mic is terrible. Stupid mic keeps popping. Do you hear that, George? Don't pay him. Don't pay You know, I believe in paying, but when somebody does a bad job, like this stupid Mike, you shouldn't pay the bastard. Terrible.
As I said, he's the funniest president we'll ever have. Now, we love nothing more than mocking the dangerously delusional left, but it doesn't get much more delusional and dim-witted than a member of the LGBTQIA++ community cheering for Palestine. They've been doing it for years now, and the levels of idiocy are only increasing. Listen to this clown giving a shout out to what he calls trans Palestinians.
I want to give a special shout out to all the queer and trans Palestinians. Not only are we honored to have you as part of our community, but Palestine is the moral compass of the world.
Palestine is the moral compass of the world. So the moral compass of the world is virulently anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-everything LGBTQIA. You don't have to worry about pronouns in Gaza or the West Bank. You have to worry about staying alive. No rooftop parties, but the turkeys in the West keep cheering for Christmas. That was the UK, Manchester. And here is another turkey cheering for Christmas in song.
And this song is written for Palestine, and here you have it. We are laid in the rubber, rubber roads and dreams, marching out, all our voices for the world to see, facing away from the hatred of the hills we leave.
That is enough of that. Thank you. I told you 5 seconds only. The producers have gone rogue. Let's hear from this young lass who thinks Trump and RFK want to put her in a concentration camp. Try to follow this logic if you can.
Well, I'm autistic and bisexual.
That's the signal. She's autistic and bisexual. She's very confused. Here we go, guys, into the mountain. Where you go? Left, right, left. Ooh, waterfall. Left, right, left, right, left, right, left, to the right, to the left. This is Vogel State Park. There's water to the right of me. We're going over the top of the mountain for the next 10 miles. Yeah. Chattahoochee National Forest. Left, right, back to the left, then back to the right. That's a long way down. Woo. I'm trying to take, oof. It's a long way down, buddy. They're going up. No guardrails. I can't. Oof. Back to the right. Then back to the left. When you go left and right, you're going up the hill, up. Back to the right. Up. Woo, it's a long way down. Steady going up. Hard left. Up. Back to the right. Up. up, 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 up. Hard right, hard right. Hard right. Back to the left. Yeah, we are up here, boy. Woof. We are up here. Back to the right. Wow, look at that view, y'all. Y'all can't see what I see. Man. I'm up here, boy. I am up. Still going up. Up, up, up. Back to the left. No signal. Back to the right. What is this? This is Mountain Crossings store. Lumpkin County. Going down. Going down. Hard left. Going down. The Blood Mountain Cabins. There's blood on them mountains. Slow, pull over. That's what I'm gonna do. Well, you keep on, pull over that you in front. Going down. Going down.
And I don't want to be put on a registry, and I don't want my data to be used illegally by RFK, and I don't want to be shipped off to a health farm by RFK that he's gonna, he plans to put us all on, similar to I shouldn't say similar, it's a health farm version of the concentration camps in Alligator Alcatraz, and nobody deserves to be in concentration camps. That's Nazi shit.
Now, let's see how the media covered the raid on warmonger and serial leaker John Bolton's house and how they covered the raid on Mar-a-Lago. Here is the ABC's John Cowell. See if you can detect the subtle difference.
So he sees this as an opportunity to again portray himself as the victim. This is classic Donald Trump. He spent most of his presidency portraying himself as a victim of the Russia investigation, certainly his impeachments. And now he's portraying himself as a victim of a runaway and politicized Department of Justice.
Moment, we'll get to the stunning developments coming into the weekend, with FBI agents swarming around the home and office of former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton. But first, the context. This didn't happen in a vacuum. John Bolton is on a long list of Trump critics who are now facing the wrath of President Trump and his Justice Department.
Just shameless stuff from a shameless charlatan who has pushed every hoax from Russian collusion to the fine people lies in recent years. And thanks to Maze Moore for putting that content together. Let's look at CNN's treatment of the same news. Here is the thoroughly discredited Andrew McCabe before and after.
Let's remember that to get a search warrant in any case, whether it's you or I or the former president, you have to go before a federal judge and convince that judge that there is probable cause to believe both that a federal crime has been committed and that evidence of that crime is contained within the space you have described in your warrant request. So we have, in this situation, a federal judge who made that determination.
Now, that was the before. That was when Trump's property was raided, all very proper. But when Bolton was raided, well, this is clearly a case of political persecution. He was raided because he criticised the president, CNN claims.
We know that Mr. Bolton has said critical things about the president. That's not illegal. That's not a crime. That's pretty squarely within your First Amendment right in this country. And in fact, you shouldn't be. You're not supposed to be. The Department of Justice and the FBI have all kinds of policies absolutely prohibiting investigating people for the exercise of their First Amendment rights. And so if that's what's going on here, and there's all kinds of reasons to believe that that might be the true motivation.
Gosh, I wonder why trust in the media has hit record lows. Joining me now for more on this is Sky News contributor Kosha Gator. Kosha, what do you make of this raid and the media reporting around it?
The media, I think, as you say, trust has gone from infuriating attitudes towards media, infuriating to irrelevant, really. I think it was tragically laughable at some point along the way, and now it's irrelevant, where nobody's taking them seriously. Their ratings are down, trust is down, audiences are down. But yet it is like this slow-moving train wreck to watch that, because everybody can do these split-screen before and after moments now in the age of the internet, and they know it, and yet they keep doing it. Maybe they're speaking to a small slice of the audience that doesn't consume that.
I think they count on their audience not being across that information, so
I think
they're going to get away with it, but that audience is diminishing
by the day.
We are seeing the online audience exploding, and this is where these real-time fact checks are happening, and people are seeing the media for who they are. Now let's hear from Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard on efforts to root out those within the deep state who think their ideology trumps the Constitution and the will of the people.
There are deep state actors across the federal government, and they are people who, like Vindman, for example,
Missed that turn. 2 people. It's just down, down, down. We're going down now. Turn right.
Who believe that their actions, their views are more important than those of elected leaders, duly elected by the American people, like the President of the United States. These are dangerous people because they believe their views and opinions supersede the United States Constitution that they all swear an oath to uphold, to support, and defend, and that their views and opinions supersede those, again, who are elected by the American people, specifically the President of the United States.
Kosher, Tulsi went on to say she is determined to root out these individuals, but that is going to be a gargantuan task. These agencies, you could argue, have been corrupted by politics for decades.
Sure is. It's such a tall order because they have these entrenched protected interests and the system is self-preserving. So it's just really hard for somebody to come in and try to shatter decades of those entrenched protections. But if anybody can, she seems to be somebody who can, and she's meeting the moment. She's tough. She's patriotic. She's a lieutenant colonel in the Army Reserves. She switched parties, which shows that she is principled and willing to go against the grain. She's got a personal vendetta because she was on the receiving end of some of this.
I was about to say, she's a personal victim of this politicization. And I think it's very clever of Trump to put together a team who've had a real personal insight into how bad the bureaucracy has become.
Absolutely. So many of them have been personally wronged, himself, of course, at the tip of that spear. And that is human nature, that it does give you extra mojo and extra motivation to go after this. So she's trying to do it. She's fired, I think, 40% of the staff, because that's a big part of it. The fewer people you have, the closer they are and better visibility you have into their motivations. But the clock is ticking. They've got 3.5 years left, so we'll see what happens.
Now, let's talk about Donald Trump firing Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook over allegations of mortgage fraud. Quite serious allegations. There is a criminal referral underway, but the media can only see race and gender. The New York Times has an article implying that she's being targeted because she is the first black woman to ever serve as Fed governor. She may have been appointed by Biden because she's black kosher. He was not shy about saying he was making decisions based on identity politics. But it's quite obvious that she's not being sacked because of her gender or her skin color here.
That old chestnut, they will always go to that. And I think she's finding out that the lady parts and the skin color do not make you impervious to these things when people are going after them. She now makes number 3 of people that are specifically for mortgage fraud in the crosshairs right now. Adam Schiff, the Russiagate original hoaxer, who is probably lawyering up Letitia James. Which is the funniest because she charged Trump, very ironic, on that of which she is guilty. He wasn't, and was just acquitted earlier this week from that ridiculous judgment. And Lisa Cook, it adds salt to the wound, especially because as a Fed Reserve governor, she is part of the panel that is in charge of interest rates, which are so high, and it's one of many reasons why young people are finding it difficult to get into the home ownership ladder. Meanwhile, she has been committing fraud and enjoys favorable interest rates, allegedly, because of the way she filled out her application. So that's also funny in its own way, and I don't think the race and gender shield is going to shield her.
No, and it is also, like you said, quite amusing that mortgage fraud is the issue for several of these bureaucrats, including Letitia James and now this Fed governor, when it was what they tried to get Trump on. They tried to bankrupt him over this. They tried to really destroy what he'd worked his life to build. And now they're being scrutinised for the way they're filling out their mortgage forms. And I'm surprised at how haphazard they've been in.
So brazen, and it feels almost like they know that they're above the system. You know, they've been lecturing the other side. No one is above the law, but you would only be that careless, if you will, if you think that you're above the law and you will never be found out. It's a new day.
Now, Donald Trump is promising to extend his crackdown on violent crime from DC to other blue cities like LA, New York, and Chicago. And that has upset the governor of Illinois.
We're very pleased about the progress that we're making. I know that I live rent-free in the president's head, and I wish he would spend some time in Chicago so that he could see what a lovely city we have. Governor, quick follow-up, what do you do if the National Guard is activated and comes here?
Kosher, this law and order policy is actually popular among voters. I would argue even among blue city voters, because they're the ones most touched by crime.
Absolutely. That's when your policy positions literally wind up at your doorstep or at your car door or wherever you might be being attacked. And the DC policy is wildly popular right now. There's all these amazing stats. There hasn't been a single murder in 2 weeks or whatever it is. Here it will be difficult for Trump to test the boundaries of his power as the head of the executive branch, because DC was a special case. It's a federal district and he could do that. Here it is going to be interesting. I think there's going to be lawsuits and federalism and all that will be tested. But politically, it makes them look so bad that it's almost like they're pro-murder, they're pro-crime.
They're going out of their way to stop an effort to reduce violent crime. And in Chicago, as so many other parts of the US, the biggest victims of violent crime are those in the black community, because they just suffer it disproportionately. So how does that look?
I think Stephen Miller was out saying that it makes them look evil, basically, for what they're doing. And you don't have to live this way. J.D. Vance was saying that you don't have to live this way. And it's sort of people just accepted it as an inconvenient fact of life that the inner cities in the greatest country on earth have to be this way, and it doesn't have to be this way. So we shall see where this fight goes, but it would be amazing if you could actually take a place like Chicago, that's a top 10 city in terms of crime, and give it the Bukele treatment, El Salvador treatment, and clean it up.
Well, not whilst this dude is the mayor, because Chicago is a one-party town, and the mayor there, the far-left radical Brandon Johnson, thinks putting criminals in jail is racist and immoral.
We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down.
Racist, immoral, and unholy, Kosha. What exactly is the left's solution to the crime crisis? Because as you said, Chicago has one of the worst rates in the country.
And used to be such a great city. Unholy was a new layer on top of that, but it's again going back to that shield of racism if you dare to do anything. But on a serious note, unfortunately, they do believe that. If you look at Mamdani, you look at the defund the police, they really do seem to either believe it or really push that or suggest that somehow incarcerating criminals, which may disproportionately happen to be from one group more than another, is racist, and that's why they don't want to do it. But people are crying out for it. He's one of the worst mayors in the country, and he's headed for a standoff with President Trump.
Now to some local news. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has confirmed Iran's ambassador, Ahmed Sadeghi, will be expelled for his role in orchestrating at least 2 anti-Semitic attacks. That's after ASIO gathered enough intelligence to reach the deeply disturbing conclusion that the ambassador was involved. This is quite extraordinary, Kosha.
It's huge news. I think Penny Wong said it's the first time anybody an ambassador has been expelled since World War II, and maybe even longer. So to many, it feels like a pretty extreme response. However, the intelligence that they're citing, saying that there's credible intelligence suggesting that they were linked to 2 cases of arson, basically at a synagogue in Melbourne and a cafe in Sydney. And so they're making this move. I think more broadly, it's showing one tool that the Albanese administration is liking flexing right now in relation to the Middle East conflict. So you saw them banning the sitting MP from Israel last week to come and speak on that side of the equation, and now they're sort of correcting on this side of the equation. And I can't help but wonder if all that is linked, where they're trying to do this balancing act between both sides of this very contentious issue that is, especially in their party, kind of fractured.
Ready to lose the hat and regrow the hat?
There's going to be only one Mexican or whatever, El Salvador in Swahili. Oh, God. Anyway, you can get involved in it.
Umeti bibichaje waishani mwa coyote.
See?
Deport Swahili. Deport him immediately.
You can get involved by calling 888-7753. 773-888-77-JESSE. And my biblical question. Oh, I said that already, right? How have you treated yourself all your life? All right. If you're running around doing whatever you're doing, trying to say the illegal, I want to say I do understand why the Democrats are fighting to save illegals, protect and save illegals in the country. Number one, they're angry. They can't see what they're doing. They think that it's going to work out for them in the long run. And then number two, they hate the Great White Hope. And when you hate like that, you can, anyone, including yourself, that you hate, you don't know what you're doing. You can't see what you're doing. It makes you do some crazy stuff. Really, insane stuff. But it's crazy what they singing. Why are they singing? They're just stupid. And then out there protesting to help the criminal. How is that going to pay off for them in the long run? But anyway, where was I? If you're out and about protesting or falling over on your horse, you can listen to the show anywhere in the world. You can podcast, but you can also listen no matter where you are on your phone. And then we get home from running around looking silly, park, trying to save the illegal aliens, you can podcast. You can watch a podcast. But you can listen on your phone by calling the listen line on TalkStream Live at 605. I repeat that, 605-615-4131. 605-615-4131. And to donate and have your comments read out loud, go to JLP Talk, buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk, buymeacoffee.com/JLP Talk, or Bun JLP Cash App. Bun JLP Cash App. So it's Tuesday again. Yeehaw! One of my favorite days of the week, because it reminds me of the good old days. And Grandpa tell me about the good old days. It reminds me of the good old days of country and Western music. So it's country and Western day. Bring back, oh, bring back my country to me. Bring back. You got the mic right?
It's acceptable, I suppose.
But not right.
There you go.
It's a spiritual battle, folks, like never before. But nothing is new under the sun. And whether you realize it or not, I talked about this on Sunday, whether you realize it or not, accept it or not, believe it or not, you are not in control of your own life. You are not making the decisions that you think that you're making in your own life. You are not coming up with the ideas and the thoughts and the plans that you think you're coming up with in your own life. Every human being on this side of heaven, until you overcome evil, are possessed with evil demons inside of you. Your mind. Your mind. You're possessed with evil spirits, and those spirits pretend to be you, and they cause you to do what you don't want to do. But then they make you say, well, you want to do this. Or they make you have excuses by trying to make you blame someone else for it. Your actions. It's so crazy to me that this is happening. And we, unless you're getting to know yourself, you would not know this. You would think that your own jealousy, the jealousy you have and the strife and the envy and the revengeful nature, the up and down idea, the good idea, the bad ideas, the whatever, you would think, and you do think it, that they're yours. You will feel guilty when you do something wrong and you think that you are causing you to feel guilty. But you're not. Those things are causing you to feel guilty. And then other people that want to control you, those same evil spirits are working through them to try to make you feel guilty because they want something from you. And so they work through other people to make you feel guilty too. That's crazy, huh? But it's so true. We, you, I, nobody on this side of the planet are in charge of anything. You're being controlled. When Paul said, I've come to realize, paraphrasing, to realize that it's not me. I've been trying to do the right thing, he said. I can't. I tried to be right. I can't, he said. I tried to do right, but every time I try, it doesn't go that way, he said. And I've come to realize it's not me, but something that made a home in me. When you can realize that, you're on your way to freedom. But as long as you think it's you, you're getting worse. Wicked, evil. And it's amazing too, when you become aware of evil spirit working in other people, working in you, and you start to see them in others, you see that there are demons in them, it's mind-blowing. One thing I know about the demons inside of people, they do not like a person of strength, a person who has overcome it. And then even the people who pretend to like a strong person, a person who is overcome, and they'll become strong, they're only pretending that they like a strong person because they want to be like that person. It's not that they like the person, they want to be that, and then if they can become strong, they will attack the strong person. That is crazy to me. And demons smile in your face while all the time they're trying to take your place. Demons try to be you. If there's something about you that you get attention or something, they will dress like you, they will speak like you, they will act like you until they can, and then they'll go, when they get to the point where they want to try to become you, they'll start to, behind your back, turn people against you. Oh, they're not what they say they are. They're not what they pretend to be. Oh, you don't know this person. Now they're trying to draw you into them so they can get the attention that they believe you're getting, and they want it because they become like you for their own it's just crazy.
43662.
You're possessed and don't even know it.
One 21 43662. I think that's what it is. Yes. Yes. 436. 1000 21 436. I think it's 4. I think it's 4. No. Give me a call back. Let's see. Forgetting my number. I think I'm forgetting one of my numbers on my checking account. I think I'm missing a number. Can you help me?
Your account number?
Yeah, the checking. I think I'm missing a number like 43662. I'm guessing and I'm trying to be right. I'm trying to deposit.
I wrote it down on that sheet for you.
Four, 3, 6, 6, 2. 4. I left the 4 out. Damn. It's a bunch of gibberish, okay? I'm just depositing.
Here you go.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Got it.
Everything's racist, Naziist, phobia, this, that. It makes absolutely no sense. And the one thing I think that they can count on right now is President Trump, regardless of how the GOP feels, you guys must realize it right now, he knows he's got a wounded animal and he's just pushing and pushing and pushing. And every single day there's something else that they have to react to over and over and over. And I don't see it stopping. See, that's the thing for them. Most people at this point would, put in the third string and just coast. I think this guy has waited 4 years and said, I am going to bury these effers. I don't even think we've got through the first quarter yet. One of the things I've been seeing, I don't know if you guys been seeing it yourselves, but one of the things that's bubbling up is many people are now believing that President Trump already has control of the Federal Reserve and the IRS. And I don't mean like he heads the agencies, he's got people in place. That there's the next, maybe not next, but there's soon to be a shoe to drop that could indeed mean the Federal Reserve goes bye-bye and the IRS goes bye-bye as we know it today. Now, just to bring it to you in case you don't know, Lisa Cook, who is, as you heard my interview with James Fishback yesterday, is the Federal Reserve governor meaning basically like a board member, who has been found out to be a fraudster on her mortgage applications. And so yesterday, last night, President Trump fired off a letter and fired her. So if you haven't heard this morning, the news is Miss Cook says, I'm not going. What do you mean you're not going? I fired you. Well, this morning she said, I'm not going. I'm not doing it. You can't fire me. And so Pam Bondi within the next couple of days is going to have to go lead her out in cuffs. This woman is going to make a spectacle of this. Somebody has told her, just don't leave your desk. Keep working. You're fired. No, I'm not leaving. Perhaps you don't understand the word fired. It'd be very easy for Pam Bondi or somebody, Jerome Powell, to just basically turn off her badge, turn off her computer. Don't let her in the building. Now Trump has Jerome Powell over a barrel. I have fired one of the people that you work with. If you are the head of the Federal Reserve, then it would be complete insubordination for you to ignore my declaration. She is fired. If Jerome Powell lets this woman back in the building, if Jerome Powell lets her come back and sit on a board and make decisions, now Jerome Powell is a part of the Civil War as well. You know, at some point, we should just rip off the Band-Aid and just declare the Civil War. With what these judges are doing and what you're seeing some of these bureaucrats doing, there is no doubt anymore that we are in a civil war. I am tired of people wondering, we can work it out. No, there's no working out. They don't care. They are doing this to the President of the United States. They have told the President of the United States, I am not listening to you. You don't matter. Go F yourself. I'm going to go ahead to work. But you don't work here anymore. So she's going to make an example of herself because she can't show up. Jerome Powell would be a complete, utter moron if he lets that woman come to work. If her key card swipe still works when she gets there today, you need to be fired as well. Maybe that's what President Trump is trying to do. See how far deep this rot goes. Hey, Jerome, are you going to, after I have fired this woman, are you now going to basically buck the system and go against the President of the United States? See, we're dangerously close for some people who aren't seeing for some serious violence to occur. You had the mayor of Chicago said, we're going to fight you. And I compel my people to fight you. You had Governor Pritzker saying, you come here, we're going to hurt you. This isn't some street alley fight. This is the president of the United States, of the biggest, most badass country in the world. And you've got people here in local offices and federal agencies telling people, go F yourself. I'm not leaving. You can't make me. You see where we're headed here? SB just let me say. Do you really see where we're headed? The media lying to people, judges doing whatever they want, wherever they want, however they want, telling the president what he can and can't do. And you've got, I won't say half the population, but a good portion of the population who are just nodding along saying, yeah, go for it. The judges are telling you what to do, Trump. This is not going to end well. There is only one way. The military is the only way at this point. I don't want to see the military taking over cities across the country. I don't think that's what they're there for. But they are there when there's a complete national insurrection. You see, I think what President Trump is doing, you can tell people you heard it here first. I think President Trump is making these moves to show the insurrection. See, the insurrection doesn't have to take place in Washington. The insurrection is when you do everything openly possible to go against the government, go against the national interest of this country. The insurrection is what they're actually doing. Go after yourself. I'm not fired. You can't stop me. There's nothing you can do. We'll hurt you, Trump. We'll do this, we'll do that. Judges like, hey, you can't do this. Everything you're seeing, I've begun sitting back going, wait a second. Think about it to yourself now. If you have the entirety of the judiciary bucking everything, if you have people in different state governments bucking things and taking off and leaving town, if you have people going in front of cameras saying they're going to fight you, how much more do you need to think about it? Like, well, wait a minute, this is an insurrection. There'll be people who call me crazy, but I'm looking at the entirety of the picture here, and I'm waiting for him to come out one day and go, well, here's what's going to happen. I gave you all the chance to come clean and get your asses together. I told you, clean this up. Stop this crime. Get this put together, or else don't make me. And so yesterday when he was in the Oval Office and people thought he was backing down, I'd like them to, ask me for some help. We'll come in and help you. And instead, what did they do?
Come.
Oh, okay, so you just want people to run the street and have 3,000 shootings a year. That's just what you want. It is coming. And I don't mean that in some abstract manner. You're watching it. See, the stuff that they're not reporting is the stuff you need to pay attention to. If you were with me last night, you heard that senator, a Mexican senator, not a Mexican senator in the United States, a senator in Mexico say the cartels are working against this country, our country. The cartels at this point are funding all kinds of stuff. And so what happens yesterday, Pam Bondi does the press conference, little El Chapo, I forget what the guy's name, the second in command who took over after El Chapo went to jail, he decided yesterday it was in his best interest to, plead guilty. And nobody pleads guilty without getting something and giving something. And then shortly after that, we started seeing a plethora of articles and videos about how much drugs they're taking off the street. 76,000 pounds, 2 million pounds. They're getting all this stuff. At the same time, this Mexican senator says, yeah, the president, Gloria Steinblum, whatever her name is, she's in bed with all these people. The United States needs to come in and clean us up. But the story behind all that is he turned off that money flow. And he's choking off all the insurrections from their money. USAID, let's turn that off. Department of Education, yeah, we're going to turn that off. And now drugs. Yeah, we're going to turn that off. He's choking them out without having to use much force. And what you see the result is at this point is complete manic insanity. They don't know what to do. They can't afford anything. Their numbers are in the toilet. And so they just keep trying to get the people to do something. And the only people showing up are old hippies from the 60s who, as long as their Geritol is working, they'll stand outside with some sign. Yeah, don't do it, Trump. And you look around and like, hey, there's nobody here, man. No, you can't keep doing it. We are in a civil war. We are in an insurrection. It's just a matter of how long before all of this gets quelled. Now, he's supposed to come up in 12 minutes, so let me start with what I have to show you. But before I do that, let me tell you about today's sponsor. Or actually, this.
I've been running a scroll of the names of people that have been shot and killed. You can predict with pinpoint accuracy how many people on any given weekend are going to be shot and killed in Chicago. They haven't lifted a finger to solve the problem. You know, they've fallen into this defund, dismantle, reimagine, Nobel insanity. And now Donald Trump wants to help and they're mad at him?
Look, we discussed this last time I was on your show. The Democrat Party does not fight for, care about, or represent American citizens. It is an entity devoted exclusively to the defense of hardened criminals, gangbangers, and illegal alien killers and terrorists. The Democrat Party is not a political party. It is a domestic extremist organization. Look at Chicago. They've shut down the police department. They've handcuffed law enforcement, and as President Trump says, they have turned the streets of Chicago into a bloody killing field. Here in Washington, D.C., before President Trump launched the federal law enforcement liberation in D.C., there was a murder on the streets of this town every other day. Body after body after body after body. That was Washington, D.C. Residents were afraid to go to restaurants. They were afraid to go into entire neighborhoods. They were getting carjacked right and left, robbed and beaten. That was Washington, D.C. Now we're 2 weeks homicide free, the safest this city has ever been in its entire history. And the Democrats, instead of jumping up and down and saying, thank you, President Trump, thank you for saving our lives, thank you for saving our cities, thank you for scrubbing away all the graffiti, the trash, the homeless encampments, the druggies, instead of cleaning up the city, instead of thanking him for that, they're saying, President Trump, how dare you save our lives? How dare you save our children? How dare you save our city? The Democrat Party, Sean, that exists today, it disgusts me. I do not recognize that party, Sean.
I don't recognize it, but the reality is you cannot pursue happiness in this country. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. You can't pursue happiness if you don't have the prerequisite of law and order and safety and security. They are not providing it. Now, my understanding of the Supremacy Clause, that would then be the jurisdiction of the federal government. Your take?
Absolutely, Sean. And first of all, thank you for making this basic point. You can't have happiness without security first. Look, if your streets are more violent, as these Democrat cities are, more violent than Baghdad, more violent than communities in Ethiopia and places that many Americans would never even dream of visiting, some of the most dangerous places on planet Earth. It's more dangerous than Mexico City. Democrat cities are more dangerous than Mexico City, which is run by criminal cartels. How can you pursue happiness, Sean? And to the point about the federal government and the Supremacy Clause, the president has the utmost authority here because he oversees federal law enforcement, which is supreme to state and local law enforcement. And all of these organized street gangs that are terrorizing these cities, that are dealing these drugs, that are trafficking weapons, that are engaging in organized theft, armed robbery, carjacking, all of them are doing business with, at some level or another, the transnational narco-trafficking organizations. So these street crews are engaged in material support for terrorism. which is the core function of the federal government to defend and protect.
Did you catch that last 30 or 40 seconds? A whole mouthful came flying out. He talked about the Supremacy Clause, and then he talked about the narco-terrorism. And what you're seeing right now is the fight against the narco-terrorism by the arrest yesterday with Pam Bondi announced, and well, not the arrest, the allocution. I plead guilty. Yes, you got me, from little El Chapo. So El Chapo number 2, he pleads guilty. And then all of a sudden we see all these busts, which we now know have been funding the illicit activity in our cities. When you put that together with the Supremacy Clause, you have the recipe to end the insurrection. And so Stephen Miller here is letting the cat out the bag. Obviously, President Trump has said, give them the breadcrumbs. Let them know what's coming. I have this thing here called the Supremacy Clause. I'm turning off their money, and I can tie the narco-terrorism into the inner city crime and to the Democrats. This is why they're freaking out. The USAID stuff, yeah, that bothers them too. But now you can tie them to actual crimes. And if you can see, if you understand that little El Chapo and Big El Chapo both capitulated and said, you got me. If those two people went down and are giving up things, you think these people in the hood aren't giving up things? So that's one thing nobody has mentioned. Just understand that you have heard nothing, not one peep on any media station about what's going on in Washington, D.C. So when Pam or Cash comes out and say Judge Janine, hey, we've arrested like 1,000 people. You think they're just cuffing them, printing them, and putting them in a holding cell? Nah, that ain't happening. Some of these people know other people. Some of these people, especially if you're 16, 17, 15, who's your boss? Where'd you get the gun? Where are you getting the money? Those kids are going to... Yeah, you know what? You're 16. Guess what? You're never going to get out. Look at this guy here. This is Bubba. He's about to be your roommate. Going to bend you over. Ever see the movie Shawshank Redemption? Let me let you watch Shawshank Redemption. Okay, now that you're done, you wanna meet some people like the sisters? And if you haven't seen the movie Shawshank Redemption, you may not know what I'm talking about. Those of you who do understand who the sisters were. You ever see American Me? And at 16, the worst thing that can happen to a 16-year-old black kid, isn't going to jail. No, I'm bad. I go to jail. Okay, but this isn't what you're looking for. You're not looking to be bent over like like Don Lemon. Huh? Yeah. They just want to see a look on your face. So start talking. You see, sometimes there's things worse than going to jail. And with some of these young thugs who think they're so cool, being bent over like Gumby is worse than being in the jail. And so if you show them American Me, and you show them, the other word, Shawshank Redemption, and you start pressing these kids, they're just kids. They're going to break. That, none of this has to happen. I know you got mixed up in some really bad stuff here. Who's running this? Where do you know? Who's got the money? Where is the stash? Where are they putting all this stuff? They have to know where they go back to pick up the drugs. They have to know where they get the guns. So nobody's talking about it. This is law enforcement 101. Turn on any television. They're not just arresting them and sticking them in a holding cell. Nope. This isn't Barney Fife. This is real life. This is the president sending his people into Washington, D.C. This is not like what you guys have been experiencing. We're going to let you know that from the very beginning, once you get arrested. Hey, this isn't where they usually take us. I'm going to let you hear about that from somebody in a little while, too. Hey, man, we ain't supposed to be here. Yeah, you're right. It's different, and nobody's covering it. Anybody in law enforcement here will tell you there's got to be some interrogations going on. They don't care about these 15, 16-year-old kids and throwing them away for life, unless you've killed somebody. But if you're just a gangbanger, we'll straighten you out. We'll put you in some detention center. Give me the goods. Who's running this? That's what the Democrats are terrified of. The more information we have, this is an information age. This is a data age. We want to know who's doing what. Where are they getting the money? Where are they getting the guns? Where are they getting the drugs? None of which exist in these hoods. There's no money. There's no drugs. There's no cocoa plants. There's no fentanyl plants inside the hood. There's no Smith & Wesson factory inside the hood. So everybody's focusing on the surface, and people aren't looking underneath the hood here and go, literally underneath the hood. Nobody's looking under the hood and go, y'all been doing this for a long time, shooting people, doing whatever you want, and nobody's ever come to them and said, now you can't do it anymore, and not only can you not do it anymore, we want to know what's going on. And if you give up some names that you're worried about, we'll protect you. We don't want to see you hurt. Give us something. See, nobody talks about that. And Stephen Miller just told you.
President Trump has literally set the people of Washington, D.C. free. They're so happy now that they can just go out and live their lives, go to their favorite restaurant, go to their favorite bar, go to their favorite pool hall, go to their favorite park. You see moms taking kids out to parks they haven't been to in years because they know the police are there. They know that President Trump is there with his law enforcement to protect them. It's a thing of beauty, Sean, but I would say to the mayor of all these Democrat cities, like Chicago, what you are doing to your own citizens is evil. Subjecting your own citizens to this constant bloodbath and then rejoicing in it is evil. And you should praise God every single day that President Trump is in the White House.
If he's going to encourage people to take to the streets over this, I will say anything that happens, he will be responsible for.
Absolutely. Stephen Miller, again, nails it with that complete quick line. You are the problem. And as we've been seeing, if you guys have been paying attention, you've been seeing at this point, it's these mayors. They are complete shells. They have no clue. They are completely ignorant. Somebody installed them, and somebody was basically pulling the strings, and it almost appears as though, I said this last night, as the puppet master threw in the strings and walked away, and now they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They're flailing. It's really bad watching this happen because nothing that comes out of their mouths even makes sense anymore. They're not being told in the ear, hey, say this, say that. They don't get the email, say this, say this. What are you saying? You're saying you don't want people to be safe? That's straight up evil. Man, but you won't believe this.
I did not like his comments.
Meanwhile, I think the reason why you may feel that way, Arthur, is because you maneuver in society with a certain privilege. The question is, who are these?
Well, hold on, what privilege? When I get on the subway, just tell me the privilege. When I'm dressed like this on the subway, I am a target. That is not a privilege. I'm a target. There's the guy who probably has a wallet and a watch.
Arthur, I want you to be open. Privilege. I want you to have a little bit of intellectual curiosity and be open and let me finish my point.
I'd have slapped that hoe. I'm sorry. I know I'm on live TV. Hold on a second. Shut up. I'd like you to have a little bit of intellectual integrity. You must take me for somebody else. You'd have got the whack. Who the hell do you think you are? Oh my gosh, these people. It's insufferable. I'm black and I'm having black fatigue. I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to see a shrink. Hey, doc, what's wrong? I got black fatigue. You're black. I know. I can't take these people anymore. I feel like I'm self-loathing. I don't know what to do. Oh my God, none of us were raised this way. No, nobody I know was raised to be everything is racism. I've been black for a long time, 65 years. And I'm like, what the hell are these people talking about? Look, you need to have a little self. Hey, witch, bam.
Thank you. I think when you ask the question, who is the militarized law enforcement there to protect and who are they there to protect from? And so often in this country, particularly, that is how law enforcement swole their ranks. There was so much violence against people of color, black people in particular in this country, that they said.
See, you say that to somebody white who can't turn to you and go, bitch, please, okay? The black people causing the problem. Can we just be honest? There's so much, enforcement in the black community on the black people who doing the crime against other black people. And occasionally white people do. They do some stuff. But it's mostly us killing each other. I'm telling you, I got the black fatigue myself. Is there a pill for it? Oh yeah, there is. It's called the red pill. And these people need to get themselves some. Because they keep saying this stuff, and the problem with them not being on the internet instead of being on television is that they can't go, bitch, please. I would just tell her.
It's okay to beat a black person, to murder a black person, but you gotta be wearing a badge when you do it.
Who are the victims?
Do you want to listen, or you can't talk and listen at the same time?
Well,
so let me.
Dude, I'm close to pulling the man card. Ain't nobody putting their fingers up in my face especially on national television. I'd have to pull the microphone off. Okay, let's go. Okay, you're so full of crap. And I don't know who the hell you think you are putting your finger all up in my face like that. What would have happened if he did that? What would have happened if and I think he's actually Hispanic, what would have happened if he went all up in her face? Oh, the whole panel would have erupted. They would have had to cut the screen. Oh my God, you can't chastise a black woman. A black man can. So Abby, do me a favor. Give me a call. I dare ya. I ain't gonna be like Scott Jennings. I dare ya. Give me the call. I bet you won't call twice.
Just tell you. It doesn't sound like it. My point to you is, I am telling you on the front lines what is happening. And there are militarized police force going and harassing longtime law-abiding citizens of Washington, D.C. And so when we, who are probably a little more familiar with American history,
How many insults are you expected to take? She called you stupid, she called you privileged, she basically called you ignorant, and you just sat there. I need the red pill for something. I'm done with the black fatigue. I'm done with it. That would have been the most watched segment on CNN ever, because I would not have been able to contain myself the way this man is. Maybe that's why he's on television. I'm not, because you call me out like that, you're gonna get some right back.
Military turning the police force on its own people. We remember the examples like Tulsa, when law enforcement dropped bombs on its own community. We know what it is like to have people.
From that, though.
We are not so far. We are not so far from that. We are not so. We are actually not so far from that.
We need to bring
bombs in Tulsa. It's 2025. Wow. I'm watching RSBN. They're playing some of the stuff I play. Y'all be watching my stuff. I know it.
Numbers into
the 1,000 arrests that have happened already so far, 439 of them were illegal criminals, which means they never should have been in this country to begin with. That they were in this country, invaded over our southern border or our northern border or maritime seas, and then they committed crimes against the American people. So by getting those individuals incarcerated, we've stopped those violent crimes from happening here in the city.
And okay, before she talks, 1,000. Okay, so go back to what I said before. They've arrested 1,000 people in Washington, D.C. Do none of you realize that these people are being interrogated, talked to? that people are wondering, nobody's reporting on? None. None of the television networks are reporting on the interrogations that have to be happening with these people they're arresting. And what kind of information they must be extracting from these 1,000 people that they have so far arrested. Can you imagine the value of the intel that they have extracted from these people? I think it's gold. I think that allows them to enlarge what's going on. In fact, there may have been some information that they extracted which caused President Trump to say, arm up. Remember, at first the National Guard wasn't carrying weapons. And then a couple days into it, even though things were going well, even though they had stopped the murders, then he said, give them the guns. And then they all freaked out. Oh, they're not prepared for law enforcement. Dude, they're not stopping people for speeding. They're not there because you're parked in a handicapped place and you're not supposed to. They're there specifically for don't start nothing, won't be nothing. They got the easiest job in the world. When do we engage? If you see other bad guys with guns. That's it. If you need to protect somebody else, take the shot. So all this blah, 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 they're not prepared to do law enforcement. No, they're not. Maybe that's what you should realize. Maybe that should be the moment that you have the epiphany. We're not here to arrest you. We're not here to make sure you abide by the law. We're here to make sure you don't FA, because then we're going to make sure you FO. See, that's what the media and everybody's not getting. It's like, I'm not here to do all that crazy stuff. I'm not chasing you around. No. But if I see you in a position where you're endangering somebody, your ass is mine. And that's what they're not getting with all this. Go ahead, Christy.
Now with more is the Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem. I for the life of me, his own wife accused him of wife beating. We know he was an MS-13 gang member. We know he should be deported. We know he never should have been in the country legally. What is this obsession? Well, Chris Van Hollen has to meet with his BFF and have a final goodbye. Why are Democrats putting the safety of their own citizenry, the people of this country, over the so-called rights of people that did not respect our laws, borders, and sovereignty? I'll never understand.
Isn't that the same question all of us are asking right now? Now it's so blatantly obvious. Y'all sit back and think, this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sure you're not the only one. I'm not the only one. Hannity's not the only one. Kristi Noem, what is going on here? You have made these people saints. You have put them in a position where you think they're the Maryland man. What? George Floyd. They started anointing people. And then now the whole newcomer stuff, it doesn't make any sense. You've just completely shoved an entire demographic of Americans into second place. Meanwhile, you're idolizing these criminals.
I don't understand it either, Sean. And in fact, let's not forget that Abrego Garcia also solicited minors, children, for naked pictures, for pornography. I mean, he's a sick individual that's known.
The Maryland man is a pedo. You see, the Maryland man has been a sane part of all these people, all the abstiniacs running around. That's how you know they're full of crap. This dude, and I'm talking about people on the left who are screaming about Epstein files and stuff. This dude is a pedo, straight up pedo. But you don't seem to have any problem with him. You herald him. You've anointed him. You're doing anything. You're laying prone in the street to protect a pedo. Forget the other stuff. Forget that he's not supposed to be here. Forget that he's been robbing people. Forget that he beat his wife. He's a pedo. That should be enough for all of you just to go like this, but you're not. You see, because that doesn't that doesn't matter. They're let themselves be known again that the evilness is guiding these people because they're willing to overlook all of that. They know it to be true. There's not one Democrat politician that doesn't know what she just said is true. So why is it you're willing to overlook all of that just to keep this guy here? What are you afraid of is the question. See, now that's where we have to turn this conversation. We've seen enough of this to know this isn't a motivation. This is fear. They're afraid of something. What is it that you're afraid of? Well, there only can be one thing. Now that you start thinking about it, the only reason these people are probably freaking out about all these newcomers and the deportations isn't because they like their Mexicans. I think we saw yesterday the defining moment as to why this fear is in place. How many of these politicians, left and right, have taken money and are beholden to the cartel? That's something that also again bodes for the insurrection. If they've seen money, and maybe this is what Cash is talking about, saying, "Oh man, this stuff is just crazy." If they've seen money transferring back and forth from the cartels to politicians' hands to help them facilitate pedoism and drugs and everything else, and they're just looking the other way, maybe that's why there's so many of them that are screaming, "We gotta, these immigrants in our communities," and oh my gosh, because nobody else can make any sense of it. They're like, why are you so hung up on this? Can you imagine yesterday? I want you to think of something. If what we heard yesterday about 2 million pounds, $1 billion worth of drugs, 76,000 pounds of cocaine, guy was thrown into water, I showed you, if all of that was confiscated is just a drop in the bucket, how much money has been in all of this? Every time I've heard somebody say, well, you could kill like 1 million people with the amount of fentanyl on the head of a pin, and I'm like, well, where's all this fentanyl going? If I could kill every living person in the United States with like 1 box of fentanyl, where the hell are tons of it going? That's a little bit, I call that overkill. Have you thought about that? If the stats are right, if you could kill somebody with the amount of fentanyl in a spoon, you could basically put out a city, where's it all going? If it's coming in, it's got to be going someplace. There ain't enough junkies in Kensington and Philadelphia. There are not enough zombies out there to be consuming all of this. Where is it going? Have you thought about that? And then you think, where's the money for it going? And you're watching politicians prostitute themselves to protect anything illegal. Anything. I don't mean people. I said anything illegal. Don't stop them from killing each other. Don't make it safe. Don't deport. You're protecting everything illegal because are you getting paid? Are you part of the cartel? Is that what we're going to find out? That these Democrats can't exist without the cartels?
To be a terrorist and a human trafficker, and these Democrats and liberals stand beside him. They sing for him. They chant for him to be released so that he can perpetuate more crimes on our communities. It's just overwhelmingly these woke activists will be rejected and they will not be elected or supported by the American people, because I'm out on the streets every single day with our law enforcement officers. I'm out there talking to individuals and meeting with victims of these crimes, and they're so thankful that they have President Trump in the White House. They're so thankful that they have a president that's finally enforcing the law and putting American citizens first, not terrorists like Abrego Garcia.
Well, let me ask you about this truck driver that killed 3 in Florida. I mean, came through the sanctuary state of California, got a commercial driver's license in California and Washington, barely can speak English, doesn't read road signs when he got tested immediately after the death of these 3 innocent Floridians. And my question is, why aren't these people, the governors of sanctuary states, the mayors of sanctuary cities, how are they not held accountable? How is Biden and Harris and Mayorkas, they told us the border's closed and secure. How were they not held accountable?
Yeah, they will be, absolutely, because they had a president before that was leading the way and giving them cover to break any law that they wanted to remake their state so they could guarantee the next election and guarantee their power. But now we have a president that cares about the average American citizen who gets up every single day and goes to work. And his message is resonating with the American people. People finally have some justice in their lives. They can walk down their streets and be free. Here in Washington, D.C., it's like a whole different world because of what President Trump has done. And so the American people are feeling freedom again. I think they lived under the oppression of Democrat rule in so many of these cities. They forgot what it felt like to actually be free and to be safe. But now, for the last 11 days in D.C., people are feeling different, and they recognize what America used to be, and they want it back permanently. So these Democrat governors, they need to wake up because the people in their communities and in their cities recognize how they've threatened their way of life, and they're not going to take it anymore.
She is so right. And one of the things that amazes me, because these networks all have cameras, they all have remote capabilities, you could just go out one night and look for yourself. You don't have to listen to people in the studio. You could go out there and just hear what people have to say and listen to them and understand, hey man, I can actually go out with my family. I can walk around. And I'm not even talking to the restaurants. Go to, what was the lady told me yesterday? Southern Avenue. Go to Southern Avenue. Listen to the people out there. Not the ones in the studio. Not the ones who got there with the limo. Listen to the people in the studio. I'm going to see what you guys have to say. I got to share an email with you that I got. This is pretty interesting. And I can't say the person's name, but let me see if you can see this. The person, hold on, I don't want to show their name. Okay, so they send me I don't know if you guys can see it. You probably can't see it. It's probably too light. Anyway, it's a stock chart. And this stock chart is like flat line, then they got in, and it went up. And they sent me like a couple of their different investments that they've made over the last couple of months. And I want to read you this. It says, Barry, I watch your show every day since March of 2024, which means you were here since the beginning. I first discovered your channel. It's been a life changer. You have been providing not only the best political commentary available anywhere, but also, and more importantly, the best financial advice available anywhere for free. I'm not giving financial advice, I'm giving information. But as you can see, I finally overcame my fears by investing in a few different stocks and cryptocurrencies. Mainly companies based in AI and manufacturing of chips, which I learned from your show. It is indeed the future, as well as a few crypto exchanges. I would have never done this even a year ago. You and the information and advice you gave have educated me in a way that made me confident enough to pull the trigger, and now it's paying off, earning way more than it was just sitting in the bank. You also encouraged me to buy into silver. Over a year ago, I purchased 30 ounces of silver. So that has worked out very well. As I showed you, silver is up like 32% in the last 12 months. I just wanted to say thank you and actually provide the receipts. Your advice is changing lives, Barry, and I so appreciate I found your show. Keep it up. Thank you. That's the kind of thing that makes me, when I get tired and I'm like, hey, I got to do another show today, that's the kind of stuff that gets me, is because I don't want to provide financial advice. I want to provide you with facts and information that you can take and then make your own decisions. And I've shown you the silver prices, I've showed you the gold prices, and in the last 12 months, they're both up over 30%. I've got Kevin Demerit from Lear coming on this afternoon, so he can talk about it as well. So if you're interested and you'd like to learn more, or possibly even buy some, I don't even call it investing, I call it hedging. You're in silver or gold. Take a listen.
It's genius. It's pure genius. America is the country that started the AI race, and as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard. We're going to win it.
Why do so many financial experts call silver the most undervalued asset today? Let me show you guys a couple things that are kind of indicative of how things are indeed changing in this world. This is something you would not have seen as little as probably 6 months ago, 7 months ago. And one of those things is this, and this is actually, for some of you sports fans, you'll recognize the importance and how big of a deal this is. Trump National Doral returns to the PGA Tour in 2026 with the Miami Championship. So the PGA has rode the surfboard of wokeness and has realized at this point, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna go bring it back to Trump Doral. So that is going to be back. Let's see what else here. Oh, what am I getting messages from? So that's huge, absolutely huge. Another thing that's huge, and at some point they got to tell these people, go pound sand. Just get out of my face. Vanity Fair employees lash out over proposed Melania Trump cover. I will walk out the mother effing door, employee said, if they dare put Melania on the front cover of the magazine. So, if I were, the editor, publisher of Vanity Fair, I would tell you, go F yourself. This is my magazine. You work for me, not the other way around. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed, this is a different economy. I can replace you. I am so sick of these liberal nuts trying to tell businesses how they need to operate. I don't want to start another story because he's already 30 minutes late and he might show up and jump in the middle of the story, but I'm going to tell you after President Trump speaks, or actually after the cabinet speaks, how Cracker Barrel is now realizing, yeah, we effed up. We effed up really bad. I mean, like, humongous bad. Like, I don't know how this woman can still have a job today. And the pressure is mounting on Cracker Barrel at this point. Do something. Do whatever you need to do, but get this woman the H out of here. Oh my gosh. Oh no. Ashley just sent me and said, there's something weird here. Now, when I see this kind of stuff, this is when I realize that the insurrection is actually here. Even Lisa Cook hires Hunter Biden's lawyer. Come on, man. Come on, man. Isn't that what Joe used to say? When things were so unbelievable that you just sit back and go, wait. There are no other lawyers out there. You got to go to Hunter Biden's lawyer. Now they're just putting up neon signs. Yep, we're part of the deep state, and we're caught. Now what do we do? Oh, let's call the usual sack of crap lawyers. Let's call Mark Elias and Norm Eisen or Hunter's lawyer. Just keep recycling the same sewage. And now she's exposed. Wow. Seriously? Is this where we are? Are there so many people blind at this point that they can't, they can't see this? Oh, man. Let's get some of your comments here. Hold on, let me get this ready just in case he comes on while we're talking. Because I don't want to get too far into this if he starts talking. All right. I have a separate window I can watch side by side. Clarence Thomas is sitting back laughing his ass off. I mean, this is getting comical, people. You gotta admit, it's getting comical. Garbage people, garbage lawyers. Oh my gosh, what a movie. Gina, exactly. What a movie we are now watching. How ignorant do you have to be sitting home watching this stuff happen to think that this is real? That everything isn't all intertwined. The judges, the employees, the agencies, the deep state installations. That just tells you she was installed. That just tells you that Jerome Powell doesn't have any control. Give her a seat. She's working here now. Oh, okay. We got this. Wow. For us, yeah, we laugh at them. Yeah, Barry Lisa Cook is cooked. If you got to go to Hunter Biden's attorney, yeah, you're in big, big trouble. Soap opera as the stomach turns. Oh, they just keep finding each other's taxpayers' money. Oh my God, this is just crazy. Bingo, narco cartels, and they're all involved. I firmly believe that. I'm glad I am desensitized from these turrets. Well, you know what? Let me go back. Hold on, I forgot. Let me finish that segment with Tiffany as she was talking. I jumped ahead, I think. Let me make sure. I don't know if I was finished with her yet. Hold on, where is she? Let me go back here. I wasn't sure if I was finished talking to her. Hold on, let's finish this.
Privilege. I'm a target.
If I
There's
may.
the guy who probably.
Yeah, I guess we were finished. What was the last piece of that? Yeah, we're done. Okay, so I thought she had more to say. I just cannot believe that woman was talking to him that way. Could not believe it. But this stuff is good point, Texas fan. This stuff isn't funny anymore. No, you're absolutely right. It's sad. It's sad because so many people in America have just looked the other way from this and accepted that this is normal when it's not. There's nothing normal about this. The inmates have taken over the asylum, or have basically put in charge of the asylum, and we're having to deal with it. Yep, Hunter still walks free. Yep. All that stuff. Steven says free red pills available. I think you're right, Barry. The young adults should watch those 2 movies to wake these kids up. What will happen to them if they go in jail or prison? I don't know if you guys have ever seen American Me. Shawshank is a good movie, but it's not. There's a scene there with the sisters. But American Me, if you've never seen, I think it's American Me, yeah, with Edward James Olmos and the Mexicans running the prison. And what they do to this one guy just made every guy I know, every time I sat with somebody who had seen this scene, went, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, you feel it immediately. Act Blue, oh yeah, them too. Act Blue is in trouble. No drug money. Hard to believe what Americans, the radical left, still believe and watch the fake. Yeah. So he's late. He's not coming out. So let me continue a little bit and let's see if we can get through some of these pre-stories before he comes out. Because he's right now. See, I always have to make sure, Barry, make sure you've got some content in the can, because it's like he never is on time. He shows up when he wants to. I don't know if that's for security reasons or he just don't give a F. I'm busy. I'm doing this right now. But anyway, he was supposed to be on at 11. We are now 34 minutes behind schedule. So we shall see what's going on. All right, so let's continue.
Take it anymore. Good morning. Yeah, we had the chance to go all around Washington, D.C. We're still wearing the same outfits we were when we started this ride along, you guys, because they went pretty much all night and all throughout the morning trying to get as many people as they could off the streets here of Washington, D.C. We had a one-on-one with the director of the U.S. Marshal Service, who tells me his job here in the capital city is far from over. Is it surprising to you that all this crime is happening just steps away from our nation's capital?
Yeah, it was very surprising, and that's the reason why President Trump has declared this public safety emergency. You know, this is the capital of a nation, right? Of the best nation in the world, the strongest nation in the world, the freest nation in the world. Yet we can't walk the streets without getting mugged, raped, and robbed. You know, and that should not be that way.
So according to the feds, nearly 100 people were arrested just last night. They had teams out all over the place from federal, state, and local partners. Our cameras were rolling as we spent hours out there in different parts of the city. We were in high crime areas right outside, pretty much just a mile or so from the White House. It was interesting to see. You didn't have to go far to go to those neighborhoods. They served warrants for suspects wanted for a long list of violent crimes like what? Robbery, carjacking, and assault. So one guy, we were there when he was arrested, wanted in connection with an armed carjacking out in Maryland near Baltimore. He told investigators, why are you taking me in if they're just going to hold me for 3 days and release me?
The judge is literally going to say we're going to put him on a 3-day hold. Then once the 3-day hold is up, and one who never shows up. I done been over DC jail 6 times for the same warrant. They never show up. DC jail has to release me. They release me. It's the same thing every time. The same thing.
Damn. you got to feel for these people. I mean, but at the same time, you guys like me are probably saying, well, maybe you shouldn't get arrested over and over and over. I mean, you could pretty much stop that. You're in control of that. Stop getting arrested. But if he's saying that he keeps getting charged for the same thing over and over, that's a whole different story. So this morning, another press conference took place, and here we go again.
Offender 1,000 times, and you're still not going to be held on bail. That's what I had to change. And so those changes are bearing out. That's why we're showing a decline in all crimes, especially retail theft. So he can misstate the facts, say what he wants to say, but he's wrong. He's wrong. And also, many of the cases he gave examples to, he gave this whole memo of all these examples. Many of the cases were bail eligible, but guess what? The judge decided to do something differently than what the prosecutors had asked for rightfully under the law. So I think the question I have is, come on, judges, are you doing your part here? I need the judges to step up. And I've been surprised at the number of judges who don't seem to know the law has changed. When I read commentary from them on why they did not hold someone on bail who common sense would have said should have been held, but also our laws say should have been held. And so I think there's also a lot of questions that I've had for a long time.
The clown car keeps pulling up and more people keep getting out. So this morning, Kathy Hochul says it's the judge's fault. They just keep letting these knuckleheads back out on the street over and over again. You can see they're feeling the heat. At this point, they don't know who to blame. They don't know what to do. It's like, oh my gosh, how do I get off this ride? And they can't get off the ride. Nothing is going to stop this because whoever installed these people put people in who don't care about the law, and their jobs are to keep people back on the street, keep the gravy train going of crime. And so right now she's like, I can't even do anything about it because the judge, they misinterpret the law. Well, maybe you should call out the National Guard. Maybe you should say, hey, you know what? Trump's right. The judges are screwed up. I'm going to go ahead and ask Trump for help. Maybe that's what she's trying to soften the blow for. Maybe she at this point is trying to cut strings from whoever is holding her up. At some point, these people are going to have a come to Jesus moment and go, do I keep acting this way? Or should I make the change and have a communist mayor? And it's coming to a boil, people. It is absolutely coming to a boil. And at this point, there are only so many chairs available before the music stops. And I think that's where President Trump has them at this point. They are at a point where they're like, oh, nobody's coming to help. The people I used to lean on aren't here anymore. Whoever it was in the Biden and Kamala administration who was the puppet masters, whether it was Susan Rice, whoever it was, they're no longer there anymore. And you can see these people. That was a perfect example of complete flailing. I don't know, the judges, you're the governor. You're the governor. Take some frickin' action. Act like you're the governor. You got the nameplate. Now say, hey, the buck stops here. I'm going to take care of New York. I'm going to send people in. I'm going to call Trump and say, come take care of this stuff. You got no choice at this point. You have absolutely little to any choice in this matter, and they're acting like, for up until what, an hour ago? Acting like they were all in control, and they weren't. They're not in control whatsoever, and they're all freaking out. They don't know what to do, and I'm here for it. I am so here for it, because we're seeing chaos actually happen in these cities, and the leadership is crumbling. And luckily in Washington, people, as of today, knock on wood, they aren't getting killed because of their ignorance and ineptitude. Daddy's home. He took control. Scream all you want, but clean up your room. See, many of us, when we were growing up, if you were even allowed to talk back, because many of us weren't. Yeah, that's better. See, many of us weren't allowed to talk back. I had some friends who talked back, but the talk back was, as they were walking away, tell your story walking and go clean up your room. Go do your homework, whatever. I don't want to hear it. And at this point, that's what Trump has pretty much said to the people in Muriel Bowser. Muriel Bowser came out and did a presser and said, yeah, it's better. She came out and did a press conference this morning and said, it's better, it's safer, but I wish we didn't have to do this. Don't you have the same nameplate? I'm Boss Hog here in Washington, D.C. You could have stopped it at any time. You chose not to. Yeah, I could have done this, huh? Yeah. There's nothing you can do. There's no mirror you can look at without saying it's you. Didn't need any elections, didn't need no new laws, didn't need no new resources, didn't need no federal dollars, just needed to do your flipping jobs. And now that people are doing their jobs, again, contrast. Before Trump, after Trump. Before Trump, I couldn't go out. After Trump, wow, this is pretty nice. And it was funny, I showed a video last night to you guys. There was a black guy walking, and he couldn't alter his personality because he's so used to walking scared. Looking this way, that's Pete Hegseth, yeah. Looking this way, looking that way. So I just got a video of Pete Hegseth heading to the Capitol, to the White House. But he was talking like, yeah, it's so much safer out here, but you can't relax yet. It's still too new. It's that new pair of shoes that, wow, they look great, but I don't know how they fit yet. And you're still walking on them like, yeah, they feel okay, but I'm walking through this neighborhood. I don't get it. See, most people, not even me, most people cannot even realize the contrast that these people are living in. I want you to try and set yourself in their foot right now, feet. I want you to think, if you were them, how much your life has changed in the last 11 days. Most of us will never experience that. You will never probably experience having to worry about walking down the street and getting shot, or whether a bullet's going to come through the window and hit your kid. Most of us don't do that. We go to sleep, we watch TV, we eat, and do whatever we do. We don't have any worry about it. These people live their lives every single day wondering if it's okay to get the newspaper. Should I go to the post office? It's only 2 o'clock. Maybe I can get to the post office and back before the sun goes down. You've never lived that way. And so now you've got this entire neighborhoods, and the people are like looking over at your neighbors. Can you believe this? I ain't never seen this. It's quiet. There's no gangbangers riding up and down the street. Here comes something. That's one of them National Guard Humvees. This is what people get to live like? You get to sit out on your porch at night in the summer and have some lemonade or a beer, and you're not worried about drive-bys? I'm experiencing something I have never experienced or haven't experienced in a very long time that most people take for granted. I live in a Jewish neighborhood, I told you, right by the synagogue, and on Friday and Saturday, Friday night and Saturday, it's a ghost town. It's so quiet. I can hear girls playing up the road in their yard. There's no sound. Because as you know, Orthodox Jews can't use motorized vehicles on the weekend. And so they all walk in 100-degree hot sun, and they all walk and do their pilgrimage to the synagogue. Little girls, men, women, babies, pure safety. And it's so quiet. I almost feel guilty sometimes, like, Robin, let's go. We gotta go someplace. And she's like, okay. And we're like, sorry, but we gotta get someplace. Oops, bye. Because they're all walking. I've never seen anything like it. I never lived in a completely Orthodox Jewish community before. I love it. I absolutely love it. And then think about the opposite, that contrast of never knowing if you could go outside. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing people right now who have never had the ability to go outside or in some long time. All right, so Trump is still held up. I'll take some comments, but in a second, where am I? Let's do this. I'll be right back.
Don't comply with the rules that come from this department. And so we are going to, first of all, we've identified several states that have not been in compliance. That would be Washington, California, and New Mexico. Those are the three states that have not complied with this rule, which, by the way, this driver in Florida had received a CDL in Washington, California, and was pulled over in July for speeding, and no doubt couldn't speak the English language. And law enforcement in New Mexico did not take his rig out of service. So this one driver touched all three states. Based on our review, they are not complying with our rule. And so phase one for us, which I'm announcing today, is we are going to give these states 30 days to come into compliance with truck drivers speaking proficiently the English language, or we're going to look at federal funding that they receive under the Motor Carrier Safety Assistance Program.
All right, so how they're going to make these states bring them to heel is by pulling federal funding. Now, of course, you already know what the game plan is. It's to run right to some district court and say, President Trump can't stop paying us. He's got to give us the money. There are no holds on the money he gives us. They have to give us the money. To me, a long time ago, that was insurrection-y. Telling the president and the United States, you have to keep giving us money. They even tried to do it with Ukraine. You have to keep giving the money. Who's running the country? The president or these judges? And so I love what Sean Duffy said. Hey, we got something else got exposed. And I had seen something online as well where somebody said something to the effect of, how come they don't know all this? There is no way everybody knows where the heads of all these snakes are until something pops up. How could you possibly realize here's something else the Democrats did? And so everything happens once there's an incident. You're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Did they really give commercial driver's license out to newcomers? Yeah. Who can't even read? Yeah. Yesterday, another scam got exposed I'm digging into, and that scam is they've been giving mortgages to some of these people. And they've been saying, and you think to yourself, well, they don't have jobs, they can't. No, what they've been doing is allowing them to use utility bills and rent receipts to show that they can now get a mortgage. You and I have to go through hoops and all kinds of things to get a mortgage, but nope, they streamlined that too. So if everything has been so well done to make sure that the newcomers were taken care of, even to the fact of people here not even letting you use the right words to protect them, to make sure that they weren't offended. Don't even talk about it. There's something really wrong with that. Something very wrong.
So I believe California is 20 million or 30 million? 30 million. Washington is 10 million, and New Mexico is 7 million. Correct. Jesse will confirm that in a second, but these are millions of dollars. By the way, this is phase one. There are other actions that we can take to make sure states comply, and hopefully in the next 30 days, we won't have to withhold any money from them, but if they don't come into compliance, we will start with withholding this money, and then we will take additional steps to guarantee compliance.
You imagine having to go through these steps, having to go and do all this just because they won't do the right thing. And then they twist it in the media that Trump's being an authoritarian because he won't allow them to spend your money on newcomers. But I pray that President Trump doesn't come out while we're going to talk about this next clip. Because this next clip will prove to you, if you haven't seen my shit clip from yesterday, if you didn't see the one from last night, if you haven't been, you just tuned in here now, this clip right now, this clip which you're about to hear will show you that these mayors and their puppet strings have been cut. They don't know what to do. They're floundering. It's so bad that Morning Joe and Mika had Brandon Johnson on their show this morning, and they were pissed off at him. I mean, you watch this, we'll have to probably play it twice because you're like, oh no, oh wow, Barry, we see it now. Light bulbs are gonna go off. Please, Trump, hold off for the next couple 5-10 minutes. This is incredible to watch. And as you watch it, make sure you're watching Mika. And you're watching Mika and Joe, because Mika and Joe are doing what I kind of do when we have our guest on here. The guests are someplace else. They're not in the studio. And so they're looking at each other like, what the hell's going on here? Oh, you'll see for yourself. This is gold, absolute gold.
Would you also like to get federal funding to help put 5,000 more cops on the street in Chicago? Would that help drive down crime?
Well, look, policing by itself is not the full strategy.
No, I understand that. You've talked about the other things you want, and I said those are good and important programs, but I'm asking also, would 5,000 more police officers on the street in Chicago be helpful to go along with all of those social programs that a lot of cities are engaging in and having success with?
Well, look, here's the best way I can put it, Joe, is that in the 90s when I was in high school, we had 3,000 more police officers and we had 900 people being murdered every single year in Chicago. It's just not policing alone. Of course, we want more detectives.
I know it's not policing alone, but I know it's not.
Okay, in case you don't understand what I was saying, let me ask you a third time. I'm giving you the opportunity to say the right answer. If I had a cue card, I'd be holding it up. Hey, idiot, I'm giving you the opportunity on national television to answer the question the right way. I'm prompting you. I'm a human teleprompter begging you to say the right answer here.